Dricus Du Plesis rubs salt in the wound after making Israel Adesanya cry at the UFC 305 press conference by bringing up the fact that he made one Sean Strickland cry once upon a time. Here he says, come on guys, stop crying at the press conferences. It's not that serious. I would just like to bring up that in my mind, he did lose the fight to Sean Strickland. I had the fight 1-2-5 for Sean Strickland. However, I don't go as far as to say it was a robbery because it was a really close fight. Now, say what you will about that, but I'm just going to go ahead and say that Dricus's mind games and things like that aren't as powerful and as strong as you guys may think they are. I know a lot of people are happy because they don't like Israel Adesanya, so they're happy that this happened. But all I think this did was light a fire up under Israel Adesanya and gave him more motivation and inspiration to go out there and get his title back. Please keep in mind who Israel Adesanya is. The comments that I'm seeing, guys, are just absolutely embarrassing, truthfully. Like, y'all are really outing yourselves as not only casual fans, but new casual fans. Like, you're outing yourselves as the kind of people that were watching the Nelk Boys do prank videos, and then all of a sudden Dana White pops up on a Nelk Boys podcast, and you're like, oh, I'm a UFC fan now. And it's like, no, bro. Do the research, know who fighters are, learn these things, and then you can have a seat at the table and be able to give your opinion. Because someone like myself who's been watching the sport since 2009 and has done the research and has done the looking back into history and has done the podcast, listening and the interview listening and the deep dives and all that stuff, I hear you, and I'm just like, man, this guy's a clown. This guy's a real clown. So with that said, Israel Adesanya is the second best middleweight champion of all time, guys. He is someone who personifies greatness when it comes to this UFC game. Okay, when it comes to the UFC, when it comes to stepping foot inside that octagon, do not get it twisted. Israel Adesanya beat Robert Whittaker twice. Israel Adesanya, beat everyone they put in front of him, even people that he lost to, he avenged losses to, such as Alex Pereira, which I really, really want to drive the point home, guys. Like, y'all think that crying makes him weak or something like that? Like, guys, this is not a mentally weak individual. This is not a person who lacks intestinal fortitude, so to speak. This is a strong-willed individual, and the proof of that was him being able to go in there against the guy who's 3-0 against him, Alex Pereira, and a guy who's bigger than him, more powerful than him, evidented by the fact that he knocked him out twice, once in kickboxing, once with a standing TKO in the UFC. He was finished twice by Alex Pereira. Doesn't matter. Takes the rematch in the UFC. Goes in there for a fourth time against this guy. He's 0-3 now. Goes in there for a fourth time. And he was losing the fight. He's backed up against the fence. His legs were chewed up. He's up against the fence, trying to move and everything like that. Bites down on his mouthpiece and lands a shot of his own that finishes the fight. And as they say, he who laughs last laughs best, and Izzy got the last chuckle. It is what it is. Izzy got the last chuckle, guys. Izzy showed that he was able to conquer the demon that is Alex Pereira. I've said it in other videos. We all have our demons. Some people struggle with addiction. Some people struggle with, continuously going back to an ex or whatever the case may be. We all have our demons. In the world of combat sports, Israel Adesanya's demon was Alex Pereira, and Izzy conquered that, guys. And I say all of this to bring it back around and to say that just because you see the man crying, because he wears his heart on his sleeves, his emotion on his sleeve, and he's not afraid to be vulnerable, that does not mean that he's weak right now. That's not what that means, guys. In my opinion, Dricus Du Plesis poked the bear. Dricus Du Plesis awakened something in Israel Adesanya. Last thing that I want to tie in here is the difference, and I may do a video on this in itself, The difference between Israel Adesanya and Sean Strickland's crying. Sean Strickland's was very held back crying. He needed Theo Von there to pretty much pat him on the back and say, go ahead, it's okay to cry, it's okay. Sean Strickland was like, no, he was holding it back. He was holding in a lot of that energy that builds into the resentment and builds into the anger and all these things. Israel Adesanya let it out. Israel Adesanya let it out, and now he's done with it. You get what I'm saying, guys? There's a difference there. There really is a difference there. And not for nothing, but, and I said this in my last video as well, I like to bring up Jose Aldo versus Conor McGregor because that build-up was one of the best psychological, tormentings of a fighter you've ever seen. And it was just beautiful to watch the body language, the way they were carrying themselves. It really is. If you're into, like, the mind and things like that, go watch that world tour. Go watch all that footage and, do yourself a favor. The difference in why Aldo, he was tense. He was trying to portray a frame of being this strong, dominant man and a champion, and you can't break me, you can't get to me, all this stuff. He was trying to portray this frame that Conor completely disrespected at every turn, and it built in resentment. It built a tenseness in Aldo, and you saw it in the fight. I know you all remember the commentary from Joe Rogan, the now iconic commentary. Conor, relax. Conor, oh, he slapped him! Conor was loose. Conor was free. Aldo was not. Aldo was not. He was tense. Why was he tense? Because he was holding everything in. You get what I'm saying? He was holding all this rage in to just unleash it. And then he leashes in with the left hook only to get knocked out. You know what I'm saying? Only to get caught. Israel Adesanya is not holding anything in. He's not holding anything back. He let it out. He had himself to cry. And then that was it. And he said he handled it differently than Aldo, and he handled it differently than Strickland. He didn't call himself a P word or anything like that. He called himself, he said, I can still whoop your self. And trying not to curse because of algorithms, but you get me. I could still whoop you and cry at the same time. So I don't know, guys. I'm rocking with Israel Adesanya still. I think this man has a fire lit up under him, a motivation and an inspiration that's going to carry him to victory against Dricus Du Plesis. That's my take. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below, whether you agree, disagree. It does not matter. Just join the discussion, follow for more, and leave a like if you enjoyed the time spent.